Okay, we're live. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mike, and I'm the guy behind Immigrant Hub, Channel Germany, or yourself and settling. And today we have a very special guest with us, Daniel, an international student from Nigeria studying here in Germany. We have only 30 minutes for this conversation, so we will go straight to the point from the beginning. However, the key thing for you to know ahead so you can prepare yourself is if you plan to move to Germany from Nigeria or other parts of Africa, how should you go about it? From everything that you need to do when you start thinking about the process to arriving and settling down. Daniel is going to tell us briefly about his story. And the goal here is this that you understand the story from someone who experienced it recently, but more importantly, that you can start thinking about the reality for yourself. Because trust me, it's one thing to see and read and hear something, but then it's a completely different story to experience it. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. I'll let my co-host Mike from Nigeria briefly also introduce himself and then our guest speaker, and then we dive into the show for today. You're muted, Mike.
Yeah, so sorry I was muted. Thank you so much, Mike. Dan, once again, it's a pleasure to have you on this show. Yes, Mike, if you're interested to know, I think I've told you before privately, a number of persons are reaching out to me privately to chat with me, to chat me up and say, this you guys are saying, is he real? That guy in Germany, is he fake? Can we trust him? And all this and all that. So, and I tell them, no, Mike is not here to even ask you to come so that he can take you to Germany. He's talking about the pathways and how to walk your way through to get to Germany and other parts of Europe. So, and that's why it makes a lot of sense that we have done here today to tell them, not from Mike's mouth, but from his own mouth. This and these are the steps I took, and somehow this is where Mike comes in, and I am now in Germany, and this is how long I've been in Germany. So it makes a lot of sense, Mike.
Yeah. Daniel, please introduce yourself to our audience so they get to meet you.
Good morning, our host. Good morning to the audience as well who are streaming live with us. My name is Daniel. I'm from Nigeria. I'm currently a student of International Food Business and Consumer Studies in Sule and University of Kassel. It's a joint program run by two different universities. And I've been in Germany for 2.5 years now. And yeah, that's like a brief intro, right? Yeah.
That is a very humble guy. I like that. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel, let's start really with, in my opinion, the key part of the conversation. The topic says from Nigeria to Germany, what it really took to get in and settle. Maybe the settle part, we're a bit far away from that, but from Nigeria to Germany, what it really
Okay,
took.
maybe we take it from before settling, then the experience after. Yeah. I mean, for I think 3 years back, I think 3-4 years back, I had the ambition to study abroad, but the key place is where and do I have the resources and how do I go about with the journey? So I was going through, a couple of countries, making my inquiries, basically asking people questions. People who have brought friends in the US and Canada, and what have you. But I stumbled across a country called Germany because as at then, the information at our disposal was just emerging. There wasn't so much information. I think the information about Germany, people from Nigeria studying in Germany became involved in maybe 6-7 years now. So it wasn't really cut across. So I had to do the work a lot on my own. So I went through what it entails to study in Germany. I checked the pros and cons, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at three major things. I looked at my career pathway because as at then I was working in the food sector in Nigeria for about 6-7 years. I looked at the career pathway. I also looked at the affordability.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the long-term integration into the country because the point is, after the program, I might also want to integrate. So what's the long-term integration? So these were the three I mean, top points which actually tick my own, I mean, bucket list.
Yeah.
So having decided to settle for Germany, then it's the equivalent tax is how to proceed. How do I go about it? So I had to also, like, I've streamlined my choice to Germany now. So I have to now make inquiries from people who are already studying in Germany. And the first point and the first place I went to was Nairaland. Like, oh, let me have a feel of those who have been studying in Germany for a couple of years. So
Yeah.
I took my time over 1 or 2 months. I read the choice on Nairaland. I got some information about how to study in Germany, the process, and everything.
Yeah.
And another thing I also try to establish is I I discovered a school which actually aligned with my career objective, which
Great.
was which is actually University of Kassel and Sule Fuda, because the school offers a unique program which tailored perfectly into my career pathway. So the next step was to identify students who are already studying there. So I
Yeah.
was able to get some few students who were studying there. Then it was more like a personal interface with them. How did you do it? How is it done? But the key thing here is what they establish is do it yourself. DIY, you can do it yourself. So the onus was
100%.
on me to start the process, make inquiry. I made application, and at the very first point, I was admitted, and I got the admission. I think after 2 months, after applying, thanks to blogs I listened to. My blog was also helpful. His channel was quite helpful too, and a couple of other information at my disposals at that time. So the admission is the bucket list ticked one. Then the admission doesn't actually take me to Germany. I need a visa, of
That's
course.
yeah.
So I had to go through the visa requirement, the prerequisites, and I discovered there is a waiting list. What I mean by a waiting list is that you don't just have an admission and you go to the embassy and you get a visa the next month, especially coming from a country like Nigeria.
Yeah.
So I had to go through the waiting list, which I was on the waiting list for a total number of 14 months. I was on the
14
waiting
months.
list. I was on the waiting list for 14 months. So in the course of the me being on the waiting list, I use that to like get to know about the country the more, because I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm one step in. It's just a matter of time. So
Yeah.
I wasn't, and of course I had my job ongoing, so it wasn't like everything was depending
That's,
on traveling to Germany.
yeah.
So it was an ample time for me to acclimatize with and get myself familiar with what it takes to actually travel down to Germany. So by and large, after 14 months, I got the invite from the embassy, got the prerequisites, which basically I might not be able to list them here, financial requirements and
Yeah.
what have you.
Yeah.
Everything was, spot on. I went for the interview. It took like another 3 months before the visa was, yeah, before I got the feedback from the embassy and the visa was eventually
Yeah.
issued. Yeah,
You know,
so
Danny, you've touched on a couple of key points which I would like us to go into a bit. And for the sake of all our viewers here, Daniel and I, we've only had the opportunity to meet once in person, and that was spontaneous, not planned. Daniel has known me for a while now, and also mentioned that he's seen a couple of our videos from our YouTube channel back then when it was named Jakarta Travel. An interesting thing now is this: I will go from the last one to the first one you mentioned, the um, DIY, do it yourself. This is what I always emphasize: do it yourself. When you do things yourself, you are in power, you are in charge. And then your chances of falling into traps or whatever, or being disappointed is very minimal. And then you also have the discipline to go through the process, and your chances of coming out successful is very high. For whatever reason, I don't understand why people would just not want to do it themselves. Maybe we can talk about it
right.
another day, but I like the fact that you really stress that point, DIY, because there's no better way for you to succeed than doing it yourself, because you are the one who knows how important it is to you. So you go through whatever it takes to do it. And the good thing is there are resources available to you where you can find information, but you have to go there and get the information. And speaking about resources, we will still come to this maybe if we still have some more time. And that's also the key reason why my co-host and I keep running this podcast every Saturday. And it's brought to all the viewers by the platform which we are creating, Setly. Because, like you mentioned, also a couple of years ago, you couldn't find this information very easily. But even today as well, you still have the information all scattered. Our goal is to see that people learn how to do it yourself. Now, coming back to the other point where you started from, the what you considered, you know, I would describe that as sustainability of the approach, because you did not just look at, hey, let me get in and it's done. No, what happens afterwards? You know, because the thing is this: arriving, getting the admission, getting the student visa, blah blah blah. It's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. What happens afterwards? So thinking about the career path, the life here, and just how can you fit in, and how do you integrate into the society, all these things matter. But most times people skip this for whatever reason. I'm really happy you mentioned that. Maybe I will let my co-host Mike, I'll let you comment before we proceed from there.
What I find very interesting about Daniel is from the onset, he had a clear plan of what he wanted, what he needed to do, where he needed to take responsibility and everything. So
Yeah.
when you hear, what really shocked me was 14 months between admission and then visa approval.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
yeah.
what somebody needs to speak to me more about.
And still focused on the plan, you know. Daniel, you mentioned you're working. I understand that, but besides your work, like what else gave you that stability, especially mentally? Because it's like, what's going to happen after 14 months? It's not guaranteed that you'll get the visa, right? Did you have like plan B, C, D, and all? Like, what kept you mentally stable and trusting that this thing would work out at last?
Yeah, I know it's wasn't an easy moment, and it was a tale of mental stress during that time. I mean, waiting for such such a latitude of time. But uh, I looked at the prerequisites again, and I felt I did it. I did my own part. So I felt the motivation was on point. The papers were all ticked. So I had that, and I know Germany really reject visa if all these things are in place. So
All
I
right.
knew if actually I was going to be rejected, it should have been way earlier. That was my own thoughts. I believe maybe they were just doing a lot of, Germany could be bureaucratic, and a lot of checks, and I knew this thing takes time. So I felt it's just a matter of time. So, and also I got motivated learning the language in Nigeria a bit. So I felt, oh, I was not really deterred. I
Yeah.
just knew it's gonna be a matter of time.
Yeah.
And and worst case scenario, if I get rejected, I could also reapply. That was just it for me. Yeah.
This is
And so,
crazy.
Mike, if I could say something from all that Dan is saying, he already traveled to Germany in his mind while he was in Nigeria.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
the process, and
Exactly.
this is where you see the difference. It's first and foremost the mental creation. You create that that future that you want to see mentally, even if you're not there physically, but you create it
Yeah.
mentally. If you if some of you remember, most times when people ask me, how was it like for me coming to Germany, and how did I do it, blah blah blah. Yes, it's many years ago, but honestly, the core process is still the same. It's that mental preparation, that mindset, because you want to position yourself in where you're going to, facing the reality. You already appreciated the bureaucracy even before you came to Germany. There are lots of people here in Germany, they keep complaining about bureaucracy. Yo, this is what the country is. You cannot change that. And you don't even need to change it. But now, even from outside, you appreciated some of the things which you're experiencing already, and you just had the patience, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Daniel, since you've been here 2.5 years, tell us honestly, do you think the whole process was worth everything it took you? How do you feel about it today?
Okay, thank you for that question. Now we've actually have a drift from before. Now we are in now in Germany now, right? Yeah, it's been like a roller coaster, and I just as I said, I was intentional about it. So some of these things I experienced or I had experienced in the past few years are something I knew because I wouldn't say I was 100% prepared, but I knew some of these things will actually happen in terms
Yeah.
of settling because it takes a lot to settle into a country. A country you don't have an idea. You've never been to different climate, different weather. You have to adjust with so many things.
Yeah.
So by and large, I took it pace by pace, step by step. I did not allow the system to overwhelm me. It could really get overwhelming at times because, just as I said, I had to juggle between two, or I'm still juggling between two universities, right? Which are like 3 hours apart. And I live in the first university. I travel to the second university, which is 3 hours from the first.
Yeah.
And of course, I have to support myself financially too. So I also do a side job, which is also in another different city. So you can imagine traveling around 3 cities in 1 week. So it's a whole lot of. So what happened in the course of the time is more of a time management. You have to set priorities. You have to know when you are to be here, and that's what Gemini will actually teach you. It will teach you that discipline, especially if you're an international student.
Yeah.
You don't just behave irrationally or anyhow without planning. The system tends to emulate you, if I could use that word, if you are so much not disciplined with time and how to live your life. So I think by and large in the last 2.5 years, I would say so far so good. Yeah. So far so good.
Yeah. There are a lot of things the system will teach you by default. Last week, I think it was last week, we were talking about it was the last week or the week before, we were talking about the system in Germany and how certain things like the taxation system, in as much as many people may not like it, but they comply with it still. Why? Because it's kind of strategically enforced in the system, so you don't have a lot of options. And that's also what's happening here in the lifestyle. So somehow you are, I wouldn't say forced, but you learn how to manage your time, you learn how to prioritize. It might look really stressful at first, but if you would appreciate the outcome, then it becomes easy to go through the process. And trust me, it will still be like this for a while, you know. Um, but now the question one has to ask themselves is, what plan do I have for the next stage? With you, I'm already very confident that you have your plan A, B, C, and so on. And that's really what's important for everybody because I mean, before you came, you already were thinking about what's going to happen afterwards, your career path. And right now, you by default are having the experience to multitask. This goes beyond multitasking actually. Like you're studying across two cities and then you work in another city. Like no one has to tell you again how to go about these kind of things. And that's also another thing which is really appreciated in the German system. You will find out that your experience right now is what's going to pave way for you at the end of your studies when you now start applying because you're dealing already with very challenging situations naturally. It's coming from inside. It's not like someone is telling you, go do this, go do that, go do that. And that's what when it comes to the work culture in Germany, something that every international student or expat needs to understand and appreciate. Being truly able to organize yourself, to manage your time, and just be able to execute things on your own because literally nobody has time to tell you what to do. No, because it's like if I tell you what to do, I might as well just do it. What's the whole point telling you?
And just to add to it, and the system.
I was talking with a friend sometime. I have a background in the non-governmental sector, and so he has problem with the internal system. Too many processes and procedures and all that. So sometimes when he spends his money and then he comes to me for retirement and then to reclaim at the expense, and I tell him, you just, Mike, leave it. I don't know, please leave it. Because he doesn't want to subject himself to the processes of, to reclaim your 1,000 naira, you go through same process. If you want to reclaim 1 million naira, you go through same process. So I just want to say, a lot of guys, exhausting is the process that they have to subject to themselves to. And what I have seen here is Daniel came into this process fully prepared mentally, and then he knew exactly what he was looking for from the career. He said when he had to look at his career pathways, You have to look at the budget. I mean, which one is going to be most budget friendly? You have to look at the city where these courses are. And then he has already planned also post the studies, settling in and integration. And Mike, what again interests me is while waiting for the approval of the visa, Daniel has gone to start learning the German language, which means he was never expecting a no for an answer.
You know? Yeah. Yeah. Daniel, go on, please. You wanted to comment on that too.
Yeah, just to add to what you said, I said the system might be a bit silent to, I mean, your plows, they believe you should know this thing. They believe, oh, at times nobody takes, they said excuses don't run business. You don't give so much excuses. I don't know. I don't know. That is
No.
not what they want to listen to. You need to show, you need to make inquiries. They believe you should know this thing. So the
Yeah.
system is also put you on track. It puts you on track. Most
Yeah.
of the students, they complain, oh, I went for this job contract. It's light up there. I was offered 30 papers to sign. This, that. They complain so much. They get burnt out. It's more like you are complaining when you know this is the system.
Yeah.
You know this is the system. So
Yeah.
why should you get yourself burnt out?
You
So
know?
that's one. I mean, something erroneous. I think. I mean, mental drift. I think we need to correct. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Daniel, tell us a bit about your studies because you studied in two unis and you're studying
Yeah,
something which I find very interesting. Just for the
yeah.
benefit of those who may find themselves in the same path, or more importantly, how you're managing studying across two universities and how that
Okay,
came to be
okay,
for you.
absolutely. Just as I mentioned earlier, I study masters in international food business and consumer studies. It's like the only university who offer this course in the world. I'm not so sure because from my own inquiry, that is the only university that offers international food business and consumer studies. It's split in between two universities, Sule Fuda and University of Kassel. So it's more like production and management of food from farm to fork, from farm to fork. So you are being exposed to the production aspects of food realities, innovation of new food in vogue, and research and development of new food trends, and as well, how does it go through the value chain down to the table? That's why it's called from farm to fork.
Oh,
So the business aspect is also being dealt with extensively. The regulatory part of food is also being tutored in course of the program. So you are a bit it's like an all-inclusive program where you are caught in between the production aspect, the processing aspect, and the consumption aspect of food, and also as well the marketing trends, the business aspect of food. So the University of Kassel covers the business aspects of food. That's the way it's been designed. So what they teach there is more like the business approach to food studies and food security and what have you. While the Oxule Fooder does the professional aspect. How do we make this food? How do we go into the food quality aspect of it? How do we improve on sensory analysis of our food? What are the realities in the market these days? What are the trends? How do
yeah,
we bring the digitalization in the food? So it's like, I mean, a joint uni having separate responsibility to make a single a single chunk of the program. That's it. So
right.
by and large, yeah, it's all inclusive.
Okay. I want to ask you one question. What do you appreciate the most, or what things do you appreciate the most about studying in Germany as a master's student? What are the things that you appreciate the most about the educational system here, the
Okay.
setting?
Yeah, people, just as people say, the when you travel abroad from Nigeria, people feel education is quite easier abroad. But I think Mike can also bear me witness. It's not same in Germany. You are put on your toes because they are a bit thorough. The educational system here is quite different. In Nigeria, I never knew what was called an oral examination, where the professor invites you to his office and say, Daniel, you have an exam, have your seat. Then you are being quizzed for 30, 40 minutes. It's not done in Nigeria, and you are graded on the spot. So
Right
what I
away.
appreciate, yeah, by the way, no one cares. But the thing is, and they want you to be on your toes.
Yeah.
And it's not about just knowing the content. They want how the content relates to the real world. That is what the German system appreciates.
Yeah.
How do you translate what you learn in in the classroom to the real world?
Yeah.
And they also appreciate feedbacks. They are open to queries before lectures. That's something I also appreciate in the system. Oh, you
Yeah.
can come for consultation. Are you overwhelmed? Are you lost? Because at times we international students could be lost at times. We say, oh, what is going? You appear you are getting along, but in the true sense of it, you don't even understand what is being taught. So they appreciate it's a new climb. Then you can also come in when they can also come in. So the channel of power between your professor and you as a student is not so wide. You can
Yeah.
easily book an appointment and you have a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
So it teaches you a lot of discipline. It teaches you how to also be open-minded to. You have lots of presentation. Most people who could only present in public, they find it difficult to present it, to talk in public. But Germany will actually put you to your toes. You
Yeah.
have to make presentation, and your colleagues are asking you questions back and forth, and you
Yeah.
feel like you want to give a good account of yourself. You don't want to like make a mockery of yourself in public. So it teaches you that kind of, mental greatness and how to actually man the crowd, as the case may be. You will have confidence. That's the word. Yeah, confidence. Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Daniel. Like, back then when I was studying, I had this friend or classmate that we were comparing the German grading system to others, precisely to the UK. So it's like if you would compare the German grading system to the UK, it's like the UK they are not even learning anything at all because whereas from 70 in the UK already,
Yeah,
70
it's,
is
a, it's
already
an A. It's an A.
in Germany, you're nowhere close to that.
It's only 2.7.
You're nowhere close to that. Just the grading system alone. And now, I recall back then when I was studying, at some point, because again, coming from Nigeria and now studying in Germany, the system are completely different. As a master student, the professor was telling us that you are a master student, you should know how to. He was literally just telling us that you should already know certain things and
Yeah,
just
exactly.
I'm finding it hard to explain it, but it's more like, hey, you're not a bachelor student anymore. At the master's
Yeah,
level, you all these things like notes and how you make presentation and
uh,
all, it's really expected that you know all these things. You are specializing in something already. You're supposed to be an expert in that. In as much as you're still learning it, there are lots of expectations from you. And these
exactly.
things you learn whether you like it or not. I also like the aspect of the presentation because what's the whole point learning something that you cannot apply it? So the presentations that you do, they force you to learn how to put into practice all the theories that you've learned, the practice that you've learned, and most importantly, into what is happening at the moment, not some ancient stuff. No, right now, what is happening in the world today? You are learning
Yeah,
about how to put what you've studied into practice. I recall in my time, I had opportunities to work on research that were pertaining to the current health situation at that time. Back then there was the Zika virus, which was from South America. I had the opportunity to work on it right at the moment, and then before then there was the some other species of the coronavirus. Back then, the coronavirus was not actually didn't happen then, but there were already traces of it from past health situations, and we were working on that. So, not to go into very specific topics, but the point is, you learn about what is happening in the world at that time and how you put what you're learning into practice and not waiting until whenever. Michael, I'll let you. We have just a few minutes to round up. So, over to you, please.
Yeah, a man once said that I don't allow my schooling to interfere with my education. So in Germany, what I can say from what you both are saying here is it's not possible for you to have graduated without being educated because what they want to ensure is education and not just schooling. Yeah.
That's correct.
So because education is when knowledge is actively put into use to solve problems, and that's what the system in Germany ensures. So why not? I wanted to just hear from Dan again, but we've already the time is fast spent already. But again, step by step, how he did it from the application, the motivation letter, we've always talked about that here, but already Daniel has done justice to a lot to all of this. And I want to thank you very sincerely for turning up here and for the time spent with us so far. Thanks.
It's a pleasure to be here. There's so much to talk on, but I mean, so much. It's only little time, but I mean, I appreciate being in the studio with you guys.
For sure. I mean, it goes without saying that we will have you here another time soon because, as you can imagine, there's still so much more to talk about.
Exactly. A lot of things to talk on, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah.
Well, to all our viewers watching across the different media platforms, thank you so much for tuning in. As you can imagine, we could go on and talk about this. The conversation doesn't stop here. If you're not on Settling, go to Settling, sign up, and start learning how to do it yourself. This is essentially why we're building the platform for you. Learn how to do it yourself. You stand a better chance of succeeding when you are in control because it's your life, it's your destiny, it's your stuff. If you put it in the hands of someone else, then they may not prioritize it as you would. So do it yourself, and that's what we are teaching you here. Daniel, I appreciate you. Thank you so very much for taking out the time. It's 7:30 in the morning. It's Valentine's Day. What plans you have for today?
No, absolutely. It's a pleasure once again. And thank you, Michael, too. And how is Nigeria?
Thank you so much. Thanks. Bye. Hope to have you soon again on the show.
He was asking you about Nigeria. Why are you chasing? He was asking you about Nigeria.
Oh, Nigeria. Oh, we are here
this morning. Okay.
We are preparing for 2027 elections.
Okay, one regard.
Yeah.
Daniel, thank you so much. I wish you a nice Saturday.
Yeah, and you too. Enjoy your weekend. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, cheers.